Salute, folks. It's your boy, the insurance junkie, your fiduciary fella, the all-star advisor Alonzo Hall, your social media insurance broker. And I've returned today to whap and tap on your head with another ADH wealth solution. You're welcome. Today, I want to talk about isms, because as a people, we fall victim to the ism too often. What is the ism? So we have classism, racism, socialism, all these isms. And one of the main isms she was going on. This is a brief live just because I'm doing my morning walk and stuff. And I actually am going to be doing something later on, going over the budget. Thanks to you, Sheed. So salute to you for giving that inspiration. But right now, I want to talk about the isms because in this country right now, we're going through um, a lot of controversy, and especially with a lot of Black people, we talk about certain isms, usually it being race. And the difficulty is that this country is very much like the country of origin of our Vice President, Kamala Harris. It's almost a caste system, but it's not as much of a caste system as India is. What we are in America, and this is probably going to be like 5 minutes long, because like I said, I'm doing stuff this morning. But what we are in America is we're classist, right? So we judge people based on a certain class, right? So that comes to a certain level of attainment of wealth, etc., etc. And unfortunately, many Black Americans have not attained that level of wealth or class. I'll prove it. But before I prove it, make sure y'all hit that like, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. See you made aware every time I release new content. And as always, share, share, share. Lastly, to contribute to channel growth or to schedule an appointment with a licensed financial professional, the links are in the description of this video. So, America is classist. And what happens is the reason that a lot of Black people feel that the country is racist is because a lot of Black people are lower class. And man of tomorrow, what's going on? Or entertainment class, exactly. And the entertainment class is, especially as Black entertainers, almost still considered lower class. Why do I say that? Well, I have clients who are in the entertainment industry who make between $1 and $5 million a year. I've seen their tax returns. I do their numbers. And this is facts, just like shout out to Dr. Dunbar and Salchi the Equalizer. We were talking yesterday. And when we say these things, we get looked at as the bad guys. But you have to understand where we're coming from our industries, right? It is what it is. We're not trying to be mean. We're not trying to be evil. We're not trying to be self-haters or whatever. The reality is most Black people are poor. Therefore, most Black people are low class, which is why in a classist system, you feel like it's racism. It's not. It's classism. And we just don't happen to have a lot of high class Black people. Again, I'll prove it to you with things like the Divine Nine and the Talented 10, right? I was watching TikTok yesterday, and there was a young Black woman who was like, oh my God, I've never met some people who are as rude as the Greek AKAs. If you ask me, right, as a man, I was always attracted to women who were going to be an AKA. Why? Because when I went to elementary school, the principal of my school and the vice principal of my school were both AKAs, and they were highfalutin tootin' Black women. They were generally light skinned. They looked like Kamala Harris. very attractive, light to fair skin, black women who, just long brown hair, right? And these were the attributes that they had, right? And in that, we would realize, hey, this is what I want to deal with. I want these kind of ladies. Why? Because these kind of ladies are of a certain lifestyle, right? They had the nice cars, they had the nice clothes, they had everything that someone in my position seemed to have wanted, right? They had good attitudes. Say have happy lives with their husbands. So for me, it was like, okay, and who's an AKA? What's up, Chief? Give me two, please. Right? And so that was my idea of, an ideal woman. Thank you. You too. But business, Kay, what's up, brother? But they also carried themselves a certain way, right? And as far as it goes, when as a child, what they instilled, the pride that they instilled in the student body was something that was amazing as well. So you would see these ladies, right? And like I said, they were high class, highfalutin tootin', if you will, right? And we would, I would look up to them. So for me, I was like, oh, I want to date a woman who's an AKA. Now, my wife is not an AKA, right? But let's also look at things like one of the largest fraternities in the world, the Masons, right? 2B1 Ask One, right? AASRFM, SMIB. That's why I call myself SMIB, Social Media Insurance Brother. But if you're a Mason, you already know what that means, right? So there's levels to it in Masonry. There's classism in Masonry. For example, Prince Hall Masonry is not recognized by certain Masons, right? I had joined a group of Masons who were all black men, but we did not recognize black Masons, meaning PHA or Prince Hall Masons, right? We were classes because of the type of Masons we were. We were Scottish Rite Freemasons, the top of the top. We also called ourselves Acacia. So as Acacia men, we really felt that we were the top of the top, right? So we were the best of the best of the best of the best. And we didn't want to recognize regular black Masons. However, when I went to UGLE, the United Grand Lodge of England, and I started speaking with the brothers there who were mainstream, who some were York Rite, and some were Scottish Rite, and some were even Shriners, higher up than traditional Masons. They recognized black Masons. But what they didn't recognize was my group because we were under a different jurisdiction. And they were like, they are the largest jurisdiction in the country, the guys who recognized the black Masons. So I joined up with them because I was like, well, you guys are bigger. And they have men who have a multitude of placements. I got guys who own their own hedge funds that I'm dealing with. Right? I didn't have that in my group. It was just 15 black guys collecting $200 a week from me in dues. That's why the larger Masonic group came and scooped me up. Right? But you look at the Divine Nine, the Talented Tenth. It says, one second, I'm driving, but I want to read what you're saying there, MOT. It says, and they think maintaining black culture is nurturing. Yeah, I'm going to read that next red light I get to. but it's straight being uppity, if you will. So all too often, black culture is looked at as just the negatives, right? Or, oh, we took something negative and flipped it to positive. We were given chitterlings and we made it a delicacy. Well, just because we, you know, shined up shit, it's still shit, no matter how much you polish it, right? Devoid of principles. Yes, let's see what he says here. And they think maintaining black culture is nurturing hood culture on purpose, social and economic tardance in a rapidly changing society. Yeah, and this is a major issue, right? I think, and MOT, you've mentioned it often. There's a lot of 40 and 50-year-old men who are up here. Oh, the woman, the woman, the woman. Bruh, why aren't you leading 30-year-old men, 20-year-old men to not run into the pitfalls you've run into, right? Because we know that, and even a lot of this, regardless of how you feel about it, like I said, do what you will. I'm not the penis police, but stop coming up with bullshit excuses. For example, what I call the passport bros, right? Do I think there's anything wrong with you going overseas and getting women? Nope. I don't have a problem with it. What I do have a problem with is you lying to yourself. What do I mean by that? Well, you're sitting here saying, I'm going overseas to get a wife because these Filipino these Filipino ladies are more submissive and they're hotter, right? Shout out to Mr. Lucario, right? He's a pickup artist. I know people who are pickup artists with him in real life from Brooklyn, New York, right? I'm very close friends with a very close friend of his. And that very close friend of his disdains the content that Lucario puts out because they were actually out there in the trenches together picking up women. His big thing is about love and happiness. I've had him on my show. I'll probably have him on my show again. Telly Devard. Right? And he's like, listen, even him and Lucario both said, all you guys who are worried about, oh my God, she's got to be a 10. She's got to be a 10. Well, you've probably never had an attractive woman in your life. Why does he say that? Because if you've had an attractive woman in your life, you've had it before, yes, you can have it again. But especially black men, we're concerned with, oh, this chick is hot. I got to hit that. Cool. But what else? You see, a man of substance, let's use Kevin Samuels, because Kevin Samuels would say routinely, I don't have those problems you guys have. Why do you guys have these problems? It's probably because you're putting yourself in a lower class, or again, that classism, right? So you're in this lower class of men, and you're hanging out with this lower class of women, and you're in this same cesspool, and you're wondering why you're not getting better results. Well, listen, if you want better results, you have to do better. You have to surround yourself with better thought processes, right? And what a lot of you guys are doing is blaming the woman for being the type of woman she is. If you're getting Pukisha, then stop going to the fucking local circuit club for Pukisha, right? Change your venue. But a lot of you guys can't change your venue because that's why you're going overseas, right? You're upset with the woman for being hypergamous, yet you're literally making the foreign woman a hypergamous woman. Don't believe me? Let me prove it to you. You'll go overseas and be like, oh, you can come over here and live like a king for $40. Well, if you can live like a king for $40, good morning, Malika. MOT, wait, I don't have you with a wrench? Oh, snap. Hold on. I got to get you with a wrench. Let me pull up my YouTube. Hold on. Yeah, I gotta get MOT a wrench here. I didn't had to get you a wrench, MOT. Um, but so when you're looking at those isms, right? You have to look at the fact that we are men can be hypergamous. Yeah, it is. I'll give you a prime example. So in my neighborhood, in my apartment complex, there's a young lady who is 30 years old, decent body for a hood dude, and there's a hood dude who smashed her. He's not in a relationship with her, and hood dudes don't really care about relationships when you're not their main chick, so he don't care what she does. She wants to smash me so bad. She's throwing all the signals, throwing her body on everything. I want nothing to do with her, right? I no doubt, I want nothing to do with her except for a friendship. You can be a great friend to me. We can have conversations. But other than that, you have nothing to offer me other than the box. I have a wife. So it's not like getting some sex from you is, oh my God, it's going to be life changing. The best thing that can happen would be for you, which would be me slipping up, impregnating you. You've already got two children. You're already on Section 8. You are not in a class where I can bring you to the gubernatorial ball and, you make me look good at the gubernatorial ball. So what's the point of me engaging in intercourse with you? Other than, oh, it feels good. It feels good to sleep with my wife too. Or as we call it, recruit. Right, she? It feels good to recruit my wife too. Right? And so what a lot of you men will fall for is, oh man, she's got these thick thighs and the cute dimples and the cute eyes. Okay, that's nice. But what, Kareem, what's going on, brother? But what can she do for you? You see, a lot of guys will ask this question, what do you bring to the table? And women will get offended by that because men don't know how to articulate what they're asking. What are they asking when they're asking a woman, what do you bring to the table? They're asking, what are you going to do to enhance me as a help me? Right? What are you going to do that's going to help me establish my empire or build myself up? I might have to go through the drive-through, huh? Right? What are you going to do that's going to upgrade my living status? Right? What are you going to do? What's the ultimate goal from you that's going to uplift and enhance my family? Because right now what I see is a bunch of guys who deal with single mothers or make single mothers off of women who aren't worth their time, energy, or effort. And like I said, you're making the woman overseas hypergamous because you're going over there with American dollars. And 40 American dollars might stretch to 40,000, of whatever that country's currency is. So what ends up happening is you're making the woman there hypergamous, and she's leaving the men of her country for your American, right? And then shout out to Marty McFly. A lot of you black dudes are fucking that up, right? Hold on, real quick. So what ends up happening is, prime example, you'll go to places like Brazil. How you doing today? Give me 1 second, fellas. So what a lot of you dudes are doing is you are going overseas. Shout out to my man Marty McFly, right? One of the things is he's in Brazil right now. He's living it up. But a lot of you black dudes are going to Brazil and you're going to, the hood, and you're bringing America with you. And then you're coming with all your Gucci and your Prada labels and you're throwing that in people's face. That shows that you're lower class because high class people wear fancy labels as well, right? But they don't wear the fancy they're not wearing fucking Gucci across their chest. That's what a lot of you dudes are doing. You're wearing fucking Gucci across your chest. Trust me, I have a bunch of rich clients. They wear a shit ton of Gucci. Generally, they wear Hermes, and then the rest is custom. But they wear a shit ton of Gucci too. Hey, Cynical, how you doing? You don't have a wrench. Hold on, let me get you a wrench too. Right? And Cynical. Right? So what you guys are doing is you're wearing fucking Gucci across your chest, and you're doing all this ass backward stuff, and then you turn around. Thank you. And then you're turning around and you're like, oh, they're George Floyding us. There's a reason they're George Floyding us because you're not doing any fucking thing to not be George Floyded, right? So me and other black guys who are of any kind of substance are sick of you fucking useless niggas, right? Because you're making us look bad. So, yes, call me a self hater. I don't give a fuck. What I'm tired of is you fucking niggas making shit look bad for me, right? I have to go out there and bust my ass every day and fucking make a living. Do you know how hard it is to be in financial services as is, right? I get looked at in the boardrooms as fucking Glocktavius. Thank you, ma'am. Can I have ketchup, please? Right? So, if you guys want a change, right? And then you do dumb shit like, oh, we want tangibles when we're voting. Again, that would be like going to a restaurant and asking for food. If you don't ask for anything specific, you're not gonna get anything. So no, the politicians have no fucking anything that they're going to do specifically for black people because you're not asking for anything. Can I have some ketchup, please, man? You're not asking for anything. You're asking for, oh, we want tangibles. Okay, so go to a restaurant and say, I want food. Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you. Go to a restaurant and say, I want food. Guess what you're gonna get? Yeah, I'm not cursing too much, Malika. But this one is a non-child event, right? But so we look at it and it's like, okay, well, what 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 tangibles do you want? Because you haven't asked for anything, right? If you go to the restaurant and you ask for food, they're not going to give you any fucking thing because you haven't asked for a specific thing. You just said, can I have some food? Well, sure, you can have some food. What would you like, sir? what what food would you like? Would you like steak? Would you like lobster? Would you like filet mignon? You know, um, what is it that you would like, right? And if you don't ask for anything specific, you don't get anything specific. And that's where we are with it. So, TWP, what's popping, bro? So, again, that goes back to those isms, right? The politicians, stay on me, Malika, I got you. So, prime example, I told you guys, here in New Haven, Connecticut, right? I went to a person who was running for mayor as a Republican on the independent ticket. I got invited to his uh, campaign dinner at a place called Jack's Bar and Steakhouse. It's a high-end steakhouse. It's an equivalent to a Ruth Chris, but not a chain. Right? It's only one. It's only one here in New Haven. And again, mind you, I'm very close proximity to Yale University. So a lot of the things that I deal with are going to be high level wealthy people, right? And these people are very well to do. And when I went to his dinner, he goes, "Hey, can I expect a donation from you?" And I said, "Well, it depends." The first thing I asked him about was what was he going to do about things like the Lawrence Smith Fields killings and the killings of many black people that just went unsolved and damn near unacknowledged, right? Well, he mentioned, he said all those killings we need to do, more search on it, blah, 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 blah. That was my humanitarian portion. But then I asked, what are you going to do for me? Right? I said, in fact, I'm in financial services, blah, 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 blah. I want something from you specifically. We had a conversation. That conversation led to me speaking to some business owners and writing business that was worth about $5 million to my company. Right? I wish it was $5 million to me, but unfortunately, that's the cost of doing business when you don't own it. Right? So I'm doing business in a scale where, okay, he's going to help. He put me in the position of dealing with some people. Now, did he get a donation from me? No. Did he get a vote from me? Yes. Right? There's reasons I didn't donate because I'm going for my marshal's license. And in this state, if you go for your U.S. marshal's license so you can be a process server, you cannot have donated to a political campaign within the last, I believe it's 2 years, but it may be 5. So I don't donate to any political campaign because no one has done anything specifically for me, not even specifically for black folks, but specifically for me. So black folks, because of that ism, that class ism, nobody is going to do anything specifically for your black behind until you put dollars behind it, right? I was on TikTok with a guy who's supposedly very learned, and he's like, "Oh, you ready for reparations?" I said, "We're not going to get reparations unless we build it ourselves." "Oh, they owe us, da da da." Bro, you're begging. "Oh, it's not begging, blah, blah, blah." It's begging. I work in financial services. "Oh, I've been investing for 17 years. Let me ask you, motherfucker, you pro blackity black. You've been investing for 17 years. Have you invested with Harlem Capital or Ariel Investments? No? Then shut the fuck up. Because Ariel Investments or Harlem Capital are black-owned firms. But you guys talk all this blackity black shit and don't even put your money behind the fucking black firms. So stop with the bullshit. Back to your begging, sir." Right? But see, when me and Salchi say that, we're the bad guys. Right? Because what we're speaking is facts. I don't deal in feelings. I deal with facts and figures. And the facts and figures say black people don't participate in politics. We got a lot of black men who are upset with Kamala Harris for bringing out a concert. Exactly, Kareem. That's a word a lot of people don't like, is class. Right? They always want to blame, "Oh, it's racism." No, it's classism. It's straight classism. Because I get into a whole, but like I said, like MOT said, the entertainment class. So I have clients who are entertainers who make between $1 million and $5 million a year. I have one client who came to me and he was like, "Yo, Alonzo, I'm looking for this type of an attorney, because I'm trying to do ABC XYZ." I said, "Yo, bro, I get it, but I'm going to be honest. With your income, you're probably going to be in that circle of people more than I would." And he said, "Yeah, but Alonzo, I'm a black entertainer. They don't take me serious. I'm locked out of that stuff." He said, "But you're a financier, right? And because you're in the financial services world, even if they don't let you all the way in the door, they have no choice but to leave it unlocked and cracked for you. So you can kick that motherfucker in. While we, as the black entertainers, we might get, earn your leisure to rock with us, but we can't get into the same doors that you can. So again, stop crying this racism bullshit. It's classism. It just so happens to be that a lot of black people are lower class. Why? Because we don't have the income levels. I put up a post on my TikTok yesterday showing the income levels of black men from certain age ranges. And you know what happened? At all those age ranges, we were the bottom. We were at the bottom. We were dead last. Right? Yet I'm on Facebook groups and these YouTube streets and these TikToks, and I see as much of an issue with it if it was men who were fresh and Fit's age and younger. Right? Okay, you're 25, you got your gripes, you just graduated college, you're still mad about getting burned by the chick who had the jock. But now, bro, you guys are 40. Why are you complaining about these chicks? Why aren't you doing things to build empires? Right? Because the 40-year-old man is $30,000 annually less. The 40-year-old black man, 40 to 49 age range, is $30,000 a year less in annual income than the white man. 30 grand. Right? So, bro, you can't get in there. Like, go around or something. Fucking asshole. So, what happens is our income levels aren't matching that of other demographics of men. So, yeah, women aren't going to take that seriously. So, you take your little $30,000 and you go overseas. And while that sounds nice, unlike my client, Marty McFly, who was able to retire and not off of a military benefit, no disrespect to any military men, thank you for your service. You military service members are the reason that I have the freedom to come up here and spout the things that I'm able to. But the reality is that a lot of you guys are like, oh, I'm going to go overseas with my $30,000 and it's like $600,000. So basically what you're admitting is that you can't compete in America. And so you go overseas where it's no competition, right? Because foreign melanated men are looking at us like, what in the hell is wrong with you guys? Right? They're looking at us like, you guys are super weak. You guys are super lame. Why aren't you in control of your situation? Right? And let's not act like it ain't Asian Americans, AAPI, who are whooping white men's ass here in America when it comes to economic status too, socioeconomic status. Right? Money isn't everything, it's the only thing. Because it's resources. So how do you think you're supposed to feed your family? Right? Like I was going back and forth with this guy about reparations. The only way we're gonna get it, Mr. He said, what's going on? I gotta get you a wrench. Give me a second. Let me park up and I'm gonna get you a wrench. Right? But we're sitting here crying over the woman. Oh, the woman this, the woman that. What are you doing, sir? Hold on, Mr. He said, let me get you a wrench. Hold on, let me get to right? So we're sitting here in a predicament where, as men, we're being looked at weak as hell as a group. Do you think other men take kindly to the fact that we're coveting their women? And like I said, you could have your preference, but a lot of this stuff, no doubt, boss, a lot of this stuff, yes, a lot of black women have some class issues too, right? Like I told you, the young black lady who, is in my building, right? She's of a class that I won't bother messing with her. Now there's another young lady who's in this building, very attractive young lady. I would take a chance with her. Now I'm married, so no, I wouldn't now. But if I was going to pursue something, that would be the one I would pursue. I'm not pursuing her. Oh, she got a fat ass. Great. What is that fat ass doing for me? Right? Because most of the time, she's just going to lay there like a fucking wet fish anyway. So I'm going to have to put in all the work. Right? So it's not as if it's very beneficial to me. Again, I can't take her to the gubernatorial's ball. She wouldn't even know what to wear. And then she wouldn't have conversations with the wives of that area. Like I said, my wife does not like the AKAs, mainly because she's heavy set and she wouldn't get accepted to the AKAs because you got to be generally a certain build. And my wife is not light skinned with brown hair, right? Like when I first started dating my wife, my mother pulled me to the side and was like, you with a heavy chick, that's not your type. I had a type. My type was that who was going to be an AKA, a light skinned, thin woman with long brown hair. Kamala Harris, right? Who's also an AKA. But let's get to it, fellas, because we got all us Q dogs and noops and all this other stuff. Why is it that the AKAs are the first ones who started a credit union? That should have been the men, right? But again, like I said, I was battling back and forth with this dude talking about, are you ready for reparations? What's good, boss? In order for reparations, you got to fight war. Well, what do you need to fight war? You need money, right? I said, brother, you need to study Dr. Claude Anderson. Dr. Claude Anderson said, listen, the only way them politicians are going to do anything for you is if you buy them. So we got upset with things like the Hispanic Prosperity Initiative. Do we forget that Goya was a huge part of that? What is Goya? A multi-billion-dollar corporation. What did they do? They said, hey, Donald Trump, if you want us to consider the Hispanic community giving you our vote, you have to write this law in. And he wrote that law in because they have dollars behind their shit. They're not just asking, oh, we want stuff. But again, Black America, we ain't putting our dollars behind anything. We'll put our dollars behind going to take a picture with Chris Brown. We'll put our dollars behind buying that new Mercedes. I'm guilty of it, right? I bought my Mercedes, right? But we need black institutions. How many of us who are talking investing have put a single dollar with Ariel Investments or Harlem Capital or Equitrust, right? Or Atlanta Life Insurance, right? I got my cousin who had that barbershop who's now closed down. When he opened, yo, let's rock together. You ever heard of Alonzo Herndon? I was trying to beat into the head of all the barbers. Yo, Alonzo Herndon, richest black man in Atlanta. Atlanta Life Insurance, which does reinsurance, meaning they give insurance companies insurance, right? But the motherfuckers didn't want to listen to me. He became the richest black man in Atlanta after being born into slavery, right? After being born into slavery. I'm about to get on an elevator, so I may lose y'all for a little bit. But after being born into slavery, richest black man in Atlanta is when he died, right? But we don't know nothing about that. We know about Magic Johnson buying the LA Dodgers, the LA Galaxy, the Washington Commanders for a couple $1 billion. Did you know about him buying half, 51% of for $14 billion? Oh, no, we don't know about that, though, right? So, right? Again, we got black guys up here talking about, oh, these politicians aren't catering to black people, and they're only catering to black women. They're not catering to black men. Bullshit. Why do I say that? Because Donald Trump came out to many men, many men, right? Catering to the lower tier black men. Because now you guys, oh, see, he's just like us. He got ops and babies, mamas, and even got shot in felonies. Well, most black men don't have ops and babies, mamas, and got shot and got felonies, right? That's only you fucking, hoodlums. Right? And then what happens is that becomes impressionable, right? The men lead what the women want. So if we're mad at Pookie, we got to have men stop praising Pookie. Stop making Pookie popular, right? Stop praising Pookie, period, right? Give me 1 second. I'm about to bring this to my computer and I'm about to pull up some budgeting. Shout out to She. Give me 2 minutes. I'll be right back. Let's see here. I gotta figure out how to get this on my computer because I am going to pull up something for you guys. Because again, these are things that aren't being discussed, right? I'm in a Facebook group where there's supposed to be a new society, right? So in a new society, we're supposed to be building up and doing our thing, right? And what we aren't doing is that, right? What we are is I see constant posts of men again. Oh, he should hit the wall. Look at this. Oh, blase blah. Look at Angel Reese. She's mad because she can't get a regular guy. Right? Let me see here. So I'll add this one to the stage. And then this one. Got it. All right. So let's see. Close this down. Let me see if this is 20. Okay, yeah. Close this down. Let me see if this is... Wow, my microphone is good. You guys can actually hear Phoenix in the back. Right? Wow, my microphone is good. You guys can actually hear But like I said, what are we doing, fellas? We are glorifying Pookie and Ray Ray. So if we're glorifying Pookie and Ray Ray, what do you think they're gonna do? Hold on, give me 1 second here. Let me return this call. right? So we can't just be glorifying Pookie and Ray Ray and think the women aren't going to fall impressionable to that. What's good, bro? I'm on YouTube. You want to hop on with me?
Like this? Hell no.
So don't turn your camera on, bro.
What's the topic?
Isms.
What?
Isms.
Isms.
I'm talking. Huh?
Nepotism.
Nepotism, classism, right? And how dudes is crying about racism, but it's more classism than anything, right? Black people are asking, oh, we want tangibles, but we're not saying what those tangibles are. I'll send you the link.
Yeah, I'm gonna set that one up, but I'm gonna join you. I'm gonna join the YouTube shit.
All right, well, hop on. I'm gonna keep going.
All right.
One. Right? So he said, too late, we hear him. Come on. Well, you're gonna see him in the live. You gotta tell him to come on. Hold on, let me put the link in the chat. Right? Because I'd like perspective on this, right? Maybe I am a little bit jaded. Right? I will give that. Right? Maybe I'm jaded because I've seen so much nonsense in my career over the years. Right? So maybe I'm jaded. Perfect imperfection. Yeah, bro, they heard you already. They said it's too late. You got to come on. Right? But maybe I'm jaded. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm jaded because I've seen a certain level of class, right? I'll give you guys a very perfect example. When I first met my wife online, I was like, oh, she's from Brooklyn, New York. She's from Bed-Stuy. So when I told my boys, yo, I'm about to go meet this chick in Bed-Stuy, son. I'm more extra excited because my impression of Bed-Stuy was that of maybe, you know, the image that Biggie Smalls gave you. Oh, it's the hood. This is Bed-Stuy, do or die. Jay-Z, come up along where I'm from, Marcy, son. Ain't nothing nice. So that's all I had the perception of. When I got to her neighborhood, it happened to be one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in Brooklyn. Right? Who knows the deal? Right? One of the wealthiest neighborhoods in Brooklyn. Right? So when I got there, I was like, this ain't Bed-Stuy. This is where the Cosbys are from. That was my impression. Right? But like I said, here's something that we don't tend to do a lot in the Black community, which is what leads us back to that lower class. Shout out to She. This right here says budget organizer. This is something I go over with my clients. Generally, when we have a review on their things, right? So they'll show you your fixed expense. I generally go to this when I have a client who I sit down, we go over their finances, what have you. And then they say, I can't afford life insurance. I can't afford this retirement account. Oh, you can't? Okay. Let's find the money for you. Let's make sure you can afford this. Right? And this is going to go back into what I was talking about again with a lot of you men. Passport bros, etc. Going overseas, no problem. doing all this extra stuff, right? Okay. So I can't afford ABCXYZ. Oh, really? Okay. What do you pay a month in rent? Right? Or mortgage, right? So let's say New York, right? Let's say Brooklyn. You're in a 1-bedroom apartment. You're paying about $2,200. $2,200 a month, or $26,000 a year on your rent, right? We'd hope you'd have renter's insurance. So let's say you're spending about $17 a month or $200 a year on your renter's insurance, right? So, okay, a lot of people have a car payment, right? Now, the average car payment is about $700 a month. Let's say you put a big down payment, or you got great credit or something. Well, if you put zero down, let's be realistic. Oh, I don't know what I just. Right? Let's say your car payment is $684 a month, or $8,200 a year. Because you got full coverage, $300 a month in car insurance, $75 a month on parking, credit card payments, $926, or damn near $12,000 a year just paying on your credit card, right? And if you'll notice, monthly it's putting annually what's there. And so it almost sounds like the rent here in Nashville. Wow, that's yeah. 2,200 is about a studio apartment in New York. Hold on, let me let my little cat out because he's just a crying. 1 second, y'all. Finish. Come on, right? Right. So, life insurance. Most people, oh, I have it from my job. Zero. Disability. Zero. Health insurance. $325 a month. Most people don't know their tax bracket, so I usually end up leaving that at zero. Child care expenses. You're spending $5,000 a month on kids. Easy. 60 grand a year on kids. Easy. Right? Household help, most people don't have that. Professional dues, let's say $100 a month. Savings. Most Americans don't have access to $500 in savings in an emergency. So without that, you really can't do investments. But let's say people are doing investments. They might do $60 a month, right? They're not saving for education. Retirement will be generous and say $250 a month, right? These are fixed expenses. So just on those fixed expenses, that's $117,000 a year. Give me 1 second. I gotta put these cats up. Graham, where you go? I'll close the door. Come on, little one. Charge up my phone while I'm at it. Give me two seconds, y'all. I'm gonna go get myself something to drink. Who text me? Okay. I'm gonna go grab something to drink, and Then I am going to come right back. What did I just do? Oh, it's right there. Let me go grab my drink and I'll be right back. Give me 2 seconds, y'all. Right? So these are fixed expenses. So these are things that aren't going to change. They're going to be the same every month. Right? That's why they're called fixed expenses. Right? And they are what they are. But this is for an American who's probably making $150,000 a year. And believe it or not, in most places in the country, although you may think it's not, $150,000 is just above the poverty line. Barely, right? Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Right? A lot of these numbers sound very real to a lot of us. Right? A lot of these numbers sound very real to a lot of us. Variable expenses, things like your utilities. So let's just do $220 a month on utilities, which is low. It's usually like $415. Let's be realistic, right? Telephone and internet. My cell phone bill is about $400 a month. My cable and internet is about $300 a month. So $17. If you don't have a house, you don't really have to worry about that, right? Household goods and furnishings. Again, that's variable. So let's say you might spend $100 a month on household goods. Fuel. Oh God. The reason that's variable is because you may travel more or less, right? Gee, what's up, brother?
Going on?
Doing all right?
Yeah, yeah, man. I wanted to jump up for a little bit.
No doubt.
Um, Crazy part, man. And dang, it's truckers. Let me jump up about 5 minutes. I'll let you rock a little bit more. I'm trying
No
to let this
problem.
air build up in my truck.
All right. I'm right here with you. So let's look at things like fuel. Fuel is variable. Like I said, for my car, half a tank is $50. Now, I drive a Mercedes and I only put, 93 octane in my car. So that's another thing we got to think about. Because a lot of people will say things like, oh, why'd you get a Benz? It's terrible on maintenance. Actually, especially the E-Class Benz outside of the USA, people use it as a taxi cab more than a Toyota. But especially with our people, why is it so expensive on maintenance? Because you cut quarters. You know what? I'm going to put 87 in the tank. Okay, you put 87 in the tank. It's going to start clogging up. Your car is made to only take 93. Now, if you're in a position where you're like, listen, I'm flat broke, I need to get a couple of gallons to get where I'm going, I'll put 87 in this one time. But don't just regularly put 87 in your tank because you're going to ruin that car. So then it becomes expensive to maintain. So we'll say
about $130 a month on gas, and that's cheap because it's more
Yeah.
like $3.50.
I'm back.
All right.
All right. So basically, let's even go in with this gas thing. For a full tank on my pickup truck, I run about 34 gallons in that pickup truck.
Woo!
So even with just unleaded, I could cap off at 100 and something. I
And
think
that's
when
one
gas was
fill up.
about four, yeah, gas was about four something. I would spend. I think the most I ever put in my pickup truck was $143, and
Mm.
that was with me driving it on E for probably about 30. I would say about 25 minutes or so. Soon as my E light hit, I was on the highway, and I was just trying to get out of traffic. So I said, let me keep going and try to get close as I can out of this traffic, around 285. So I end up going an extra 20, 25 minutes, stop and go, look, pushing the gas here and there. So when I finally got to the gas station, I was like, man, I'm going to have to end up changing my filter. It's so low. But I ended up putting a gas treatment in there, you know. But the thing of it is, a lot of people, it's a guy that I watch on YouTube. His name is Ramesh. I want to teach you to be rich.
Yeah, I know what I mean.
And he always talk about a rich life. A lot of people spend money on what they want to spend money on, for their happiness.
Hmm.
Because we make enough money to pay all our bills and support our habits. If we initially cut some of our habits down, we got it locked. But the point of reference is a lot of people don't want to cut their habits.
Mm-mm.
You know?
At all, or even sacrifice them for a little while. You ain't got to
Yeah.
completely stop forever, but maybe for the next 6 months, you can't do your habit. And in that 6 months, you're going to save hundreds of thousands, hundreds, if not thousands of dollars.
Yeah, just
Because you're
believe it
not.
or not, snacks alone and drinking. If you take drinking out of the equation, going to clubs, because I've already done this scenario with my cousin, because someone showed me this when I was younger, that I would always go to the club and party, spending $10 a shot, $5 a Corona. I go and take about $60, $80 maybe, buy a bottle, buy a case, and sit at home. Look at all that money I saved. The
Mhm.
entry fee, the amount of money I'm spending at the bar compared to doing that. Even with snacks, right now, um, one of my coworkers told me about a hot plate where
Mm.
you plug it in your cigarette lighter and it takes 30 minutes to warm up your food. I just take the whole tray. It's like a lunch container, and then it's a metal bowl that goes into a container, and I put the whole container in the refrigerator. And when I'm ready to leave, go to work in the morning, I just grab that, take it to work with me, plug it up in the cigarette lighter, or they have an outlet that you can plug it up in the building. And less than 30 minutes, that food is fully hot like it's been in the microwave. A lot of times when I'm driving trucks, going into those gas stations to try to use the microwave, man, it's a nightmare. All those landscape guys, that's the first thing they do. That's why they keep so much money in their pocket. They're eating, whether they're bringing their food there, or everybody get together and they go and buy a whole bunch of food. One guy go buy the chicken, one guy to go buy the bread, other guy might go buy some sides, the drinks, and they come together, eat all that food like they're having a party every time. And I literally see it all the time. That's how you budget to save money. A lot of people are not budgeting.
Mm-mm.
That's why I always talk about that on my channel. And even with you talking about that earlier, it's funny, man. I look at the Wealth Twins. That's another YouTube I watch. Two sisters, and they're twins. The best way to build wealth is through marriage. What they always say: two heads are better than one.
Mhm.
Two incomes are better than one. And it's crazy nowadays that we don't have the discussion. Why do you think a lot of those women stayed with those men back in the day, or vice versa? Because they knew building wealth was a two-person sport. I might then, like to a degree, marry a woman for her looks, but I married a woman because she can take care of the kids. That's
Mhm.
how these guys always think. They always think I might then marry her because I could take her to the ball and show her off. But the thing of it was, I know if anything, I can count on her. And a
Mhm.
lot of guys are not doing that. Not even saying that you have to get a woman that's not a looker, but at the same time, getting someone that you can count on, a lot of guys are going for the advantage. And so that's why they're losing in the financial department. Oh, I don't want my wife to work. I make enough money where she don't have to work. How about making enough money to where even if she works, that can go towards more of an investment pot? She
Mhm.
does part time. I mean, more money coming into the household is better than just one income because the way this economy works, I've even talked to my coworker. His son just got into being an engineer, and he's working for Norfolk Southern, big rail company. And I told him, I said, your son wants to buy this Audi. I said he told his son to check the insurance on that Audi. I'm
Mhm.
like, cool. I say, but you really need to tell your son is do as the military. Give yourself a 4 to 6 year cushion at that job. And if you're there for 4 to 6 years, then you can kind of consider yourself to be in a career. Then go look at that car. By
Mhm.
then, you might have saved enough money. You might have looked and seen that you can get a better option. But the thing of it is, as soon as people get money, they're quick to spend it. That's why the budgets are so much depleted in our community because we look at I get paid Friday this amount of money, I can afford it. Not
Mhm.
long term to where if I put this money aside, I don't have to pay a car note. I can actually go buy the car. I don't
Mhm.
have to pay that interest rate because in the other communities, that's what they're doing. Kids coming to them, I want to buy this house. All right, come stay with me for 4 years, and when you go to buy that house, whatever you have, I'll help you match it or so forth. You know,
I'll give you another example. I have a cousin who he was dating this woman who was a doctor, and she was white, and he went to go look at cars. He said, "Yeah, I just want something cheap that I could get around in." So he went and he bought a Nissan Versa. It was like 15, 20 grand. He was gonna take out a loan and do the car note and blah 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 blah. She was like, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm signing the paperwork for the car note." She said, "Bro, it's 20 grand." Bought the car cash. Right? No
yeah,
payments, no nothing. Now he brought it brand new off the lot. He's still running that car. I think he sold it like a year ago for maybe like $7,500. Right? So
yeah,
if he paid 15,000 for it, had it for about at least 4 years, right? And he drove that car. I mean, a lot of miles. He was a driver, big dude. And then sold it for half the price. He basically got that car for free
yeah,
because it's a low maintenance car. It's not gonna cost you a lot in gas, right? And he had an idea. Now he has a big house. So that was his goal. That's why he said he didn't want to get an expensive car because he was like, I don't have anywhere to put it. Now he's got the big house. Now he has his Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT because that's what he likes, right? So what do you know what I mean? We have to look at those types of things. So even in this, right? You want to do a budget with your kids, right? Break it down to them. Remember, I'm going to show you this has your fixed expenses, right? Your variable expenses, and then it has business expenses, which are both fixed and variable. So it'll have your total personal expenses here as well, right? So these are just fixed expenses. These are expenses that are not going to change, right? Your rent, I mean, they can possibly change, yes, but they're not going to change month to month. It's going to be the same amount every month for a year until they go up on your rent. It's going to be the same amount every month for the year until they go up on, unless they go up on it. But usually it's going to be the same amount. But as you see here, we already spent $120,000 in fixed expenses, right? Now we're looking at the variable expenses. So, like you said, you spent $143 from empty to full on your pickup, right?
Yep.
So, like I said, 350 is a low number for people getting gas. I don't go a lot of places in my car, luckily, because I work from home. So that's about what I spend a month on gas, right? Because I don't drive a lot. But people who drive a lot, they're spending $350 a week on gas.
Yeah.
Easy. So I should probably I'm gonna put this number up because it's more. We're probably spending about $800 a month on gas.
Yeah, because I'm spending at least close to $600 to $800 in gas a month.
Yeah, that's almost $10,000 a year just on gas. Right? That's crazy when we look at it. Now, when we look at auto maintenance, I'll use mine because my car is expensive, so that's about $800 a month. Right? Because an oil change in a Benz is $800 itself. Just the oil change, it's $799. So this is where people are like, oh my God, those cars are expensive. But I ain't got to do it all the time. Give me 1 second. Oh my God.
You do your oil change once a year, or you do it every?
To be honest, I don't have to do it once a year. I can do it once every 2 years, but I do it once a year.
Okay.
Because I bring it in for service. So they have with Benz, they have A and B service. So
Yeah.
technically, I do it once every 6 months, but I don't always do I'm not doing B service right now because I just had A service and they changed all my spark plugs, all my oil, did the drain and all that stuff. So I'm like, all right, y'all are just beating me in the head for money to have me come in for an oil change in another 6 months. I don't even drive that much. So, but if you're driving your car a lot, once a year is pretty good to get that oil change.
Yeah.
Then, parking and tolls. On tolls driving back from here to New York, $500 a month. Right? So that's 10, 20, that's $26,000 just on transportation a year. Right? So prime example, I have someone who I spoke to who claims that they're the plug and they wanted to do some investing. So I said, okay, the minimum is $25,000. Oh, I said, listen, the absolute least I can walk in the door without being beaten on by my company is $10,000, but you got to put another $15,000 within the year. Oh, I don't know if I can afford that, bro. You spend $10,000 on BS per year. Literally on gas for your car, you spend $10,000, right? And he's got nice cars. Why? Because he's a dope boy, right?
Yeah.
So he's got to have the latest, oh, I got the Lamborghini. Why? You don't even have anywhere to park it. Right? Food, good God, $1,000 a month. Clothing.
Even when you were talking about that earlier about the fashion and the clothes and things of that nature, they always say the loudest person in the room is the brokest person. Mm-hmm. When it comes down to a lot of the dress, there's nothing wrong with dressing nice. There's a lot of rich people that buy Louis and stuff for the fabric, the quality, most less than the name brand. They mostly buy for the quality. We're buying for the name to represent, but they're buying for the quality because of the material, the way the cloth feels. Kanye said it best that these other major brands, they're in markets that we can't get to because we can't afford. And a lot of now they're exposing some of these warehouses. They all make brands for the same company, just slap another logo. That's why they're saying nowadays that the knockoffs are so much good, they can't tell the difference between the knockoff Jordans, the knockoff Louis Vuittons, because they're made in the same factory. All they do is after a certain time, they stop making the production for the major, and start making the production for the low quality. It's made at the
Exactly.
same factory now. Back in the day,
Exactly.
they had to, get a company to kind of replicate it. That's why they call them replicas. But nowadays, they're made at the same factory.
Exactly the same factory. But you
Did
said
you
it
did
best.
you hear that new thing about oh, sorry to cut you out real quick, but did you hear that about the Babe and Nate, the clothing company that had the
No, what happened
sweaters
there?
and the shoes?
What
He
happened?
was making his own knockoffs, so he controlled the market for the knockoffs and his brand.
That's crazy. That's crazy insane.
So he made so much money because he would sell the knockoffs under the table to people for a low amount. Then he would sell his brand to the more richer people for the same, and you got the same quality. It's just that you might have a stitch off here, you might have a emblem that wasn't put in the right proper space, but it was the same quality material though.
Mm-hmm. And that's true.
Yeah, but go ahead.
And like you were saying, especially in our community, we buy the label for the label, right? I've said this a few times, like when it comes to my eyewear, I only wear Burberry, right? But I wear Burberry because I like the brand. I happen to know that Burberry glasses are made by Ray-Ban. So if I want some hot to trot shades, all I got to do is buy Ray-Ban, and it'll be a lot cheaper than buying these, $400-$500 Burberry shades. But I like the Burberry logo. But when you see any of my Burberry glasses outside of the pair that I gave to my mother, you wouldn't know that they're Burberry unless you knew that, like, if you know, you know. Like, rich people will look at, oh, that's Burberry. I can see the pattern. I see the quality. I had a situation where I was working at an accounting firm. There were these Jamaican chicks there. They were trying to laugh at the suit I had on. The Russian girl was like, do they not know that you're wearing Michael Kors? I was like, how did you know this was Michael? You can tell by the cut, because certain stuff is going to be cut a certain way, so on and so forth, right? Prime example, when it comes to my leather goods, like my wallet, I use Coach. Why? Because Coach is known to have quality leather goods, right? It's just like back in the day when we would go to Wilson Leather, right? Because they were
Yeah.
quality goods. I don't just wear Coach because it says Coach. I wear Coach because it's good leather. You won't see me in a Coach outfit because Coach don't make good clothes. So if I go get Coach clothes, like you said, I might as well just get the knockoff because it's gonna be the same quality, except it's not gonna have the C's all over it, right? But if I go get a leather wallet, I'll go get a Coach wallet because they're known for crafting good leather, right? It's just like I'll use basketball, right? Or sports and basketball. I'm gonna use basketball. If I know that I'm going to have somebody play in a 3-point shooting competition, do you think I'm gonna pick Steph Curry, or who else is a basketball player who's got a decent? You think I'm gonna pick Steph Curry or Giannis Antetokounmpo? Well, Giannis is known for getting in the paint, right? Or would I pick Steph Curry or Shaq? Right? Shaq made one 3-pointer his entire career. But Steph Curry is known for shooting 3-pointers. So in that
Yep.
aspect, yes, I'd pick Steph Curry because that's what he's good at. Now, if I want to pick a basketball player, well, then you can pick anyone who's made it to the NBA because they're all basketball players, right? So what we do is we pick a basketball player, knowing that we're trying to play the 3-point contest. Well, Shaq was in the NBA. Shaq made one 3-pointer his entire career. Right? So back to the clothing though, and the budget, right? So you do want to spend money on clothes. You don't have to spend money every month on clothes. So let's say $75 a month on clothes. It's about $900 a year. Right? You might spend that at one time, one point. Just go shopping, spend $1,000 on some clothes, and then call it a day for the rest of the year. If you're buying quality items, That $1,000 spent on clothes is gonna last you years. I have shoes. I have Bostonians that I have had since I got into a relationship with my wife. We've been together for 15 years. Now, can my Jordans last that long if I actually wear them every day or wear them 3 days out of the week for a year straight? Those Jordans are going to be busted because they're made for a certain thing. Even when we look at basketball players, they wear a different pair of shoes every game because that running back and forth is wearing them down. And we'll say we spend $38 a month on laundry, dry cleaning. This one is a killer for most people, right? You can spend $750 a month on prescriptions, easy, right? Depending on how healthy you are. Most people don't calculate their gifts. Let me tell you guys, if you donate to Goodwill, ask them for a receipt. Okay? Please ask them for a receipt every time you donate to Goodwill, right? Me and my wife, we end up, okay, listen, I ain't worn these clothes in X amount of years. We get black trash bags, contractor bags full of clothes, and we bring them to Goodwill or Salvation Army or whoever. And generally, I don't take it, but they'll say, do you want a receipt? Because if you donate $250 or more in charitable contributions, that's a tax write-off. This is why all the rappers from the hood come back to the hood and do backpack drives and give out turkeys. It's not because they care about the people from the hood. Because realistically, why are you giving out turkeys when you know most of those women in those predicaments are on some sort of form of public assistance like food stamps? So they're not going to need you to buy them a turkey. Why don't you go in there and fix up the schools? Speaking of, did you know that Fabulous part owns Brevoort Projects, which is the project that he grew up in? Right?
Yeah, that's.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I'll just say, yeah, I heard, because, that's like Cam. Cam owned a lot of corner stores up there in New York, up in Harlem.
Yep. But who does he have working in them corner stores?
You know it.
Right? And here's the other problem. Brevoort Projects is a NYCHA building, New York City Housing Authority. Right? But Fabulous will come to the projects in his Rolls Royce SUV with 50 bottles of champagne and shoot a music video of a homeless guy washing his car with champagne. I lived a rich life. What are you doing for your hood, you colonizer? Nothing. Because the conditions that those folks live in, that was just a tax write-off for you to go back up to Beverly Hills. Fabulous. But again, we as a people have to stop promoting him.
Yeah.
Everybody's clowning J. Cole. J. Cole wears t-shirts, ripped shorts, and flip-flops. And he's probably got more money than a lot of your favorite rappers combined.
Yep. That's even like a lot of times, man, we go after these rappers, but like they say, nobody never goes after the people who own these record companies.
Mm-mm.
They're the one that pushing the music. I mean, even though the rappers rap it, but if you don't drop music that they won't like, they won't produce it.
Exactly.
So you're incentivized to produce the music that keeps the street rowdy and crazy and all that. But nobody's going after the production companies. The owners of these companies.
Right. Back in 2015, I worked at the U.S. Open, right, the tennis tournament.
Yeah.
I did the vending, so I was like selling the hot dogs and stuff. The rapper Fabulous was actually there. All the people who were with me that were black, that were working the concession stands. Oh my God, Fabulous, Fabulous. There was this tall white guy with white hair that came to my hot dog stand or my pizza stand, whatever I was selling. And I freaked out. I was like, oh my God, do you know who you are? Y'all know who this is? I'm going to show y'all who it was. And the people looked at me like I had 7 heads because freaking out over this guy. I'm gonna Google him so y'all can see who it was. Right? I'm just gonna Google him. This guy right here. Oh, look who he's in a picture with. Jay-Z, because he signs their checks.
Lior.
Right? Do you know nobody had, and this look at how he was dressed. This is pretty much how he was dressed. Meanwhile, Fabulous had 17 gold chains and this, that, and the third. Look at where Lior's in with all these folks. All your favorite rappers. He signs their checks. Look at that. Look at that. Everybody up in there with Lior. Lior. Oh my God, Lior. Because he also owned 300 records at the time. Right?
Yep.
Let's see what his net.
Don't you know that one of the biggest prestigious clubs back down here in Atlanta, back in the day, remember the Club Bounce that used to be on the west side?
Mm-hmm.
That was owned by an Italian guy, look just like Leo. I actually met him and everything. When I did promotion for V103, I worked up on a contract with a guy, and so I would do club promotion, then I would actually do promotion for a company called Conscious Marketing. And I met that guy. I met a lot of celebrities when I used to do my marketing and stuff, but basically I met the guy and he was saying that, I've owned the bounce in Atlanta. I've owned the East Side Bounce in Decatur. And he said, as long as people are willing to spend their money and have a good time, I'm going to find something in the club form to keep the people entertained. And this guy was telling me this, and I'm listening to him. He's saying it's basically as long as your people willing to spend the money, I'm willing to entertain.
Mm-hmm. You willing to spend it, I'm willing to take it. Leo Cohen has an estimated net worth of 194 million. Now people go, oh well, Jay-Z's worth billions. Listen, Jay-Z still don't get it. Like I told you, I work with black entertainers. He's not getting in the same rooms that Leo is getting in. Right? Now, they might use him as the face of things, right? But Jay-Z, everybody was going crazy over him not giving his relative X amount of dollars, right? I watched this Jewish guy on YouTube. I can't remember his name at the moment, but he was explaining that Jewish people teach their children that they can't be a garbage man. The thought process is, especially as a man, you have to earn a whole lot of money because one, you're supposed to be godlike, be fruitful and multiply. So you have to be able to provide for your family. And then secondly, you have to be able to give charity back to your community. They force you to give charity back to your community. So as much as I understand we got to blame Lior for pushing that music in our community, I got to blame the rapper for not actually giving charity back to the community. And I don't mean in the form of, let me give some book bags for back to school. Why don't you get with LeBron James and help him? How come we criticize Umar Johnson's school? How come not a single rapper has come and funded the entire school? Because I see you driving 17 Bentleys and you can only drive one car at a time. That's like $10 million worth of cars. I woke up in a new Bugatti. It's $1 million plus car. It's a $3 million car. Boom. Dr. Umar Johnson School is funded. Right? So again, it's that classism because these guys are trying to be in a certain class. We're trying to get in that class with Leo Cohen. Don't believe me? Well, that's why we're in all these pictures next to Leo Cohen as the rap. Look, now Russell Simmons is high net worth. Look at how he's dressed. A polo, some linen pants. I promise you it's Hermes. So yeah, it's expensive. This polo is probably $3,000. but it doesn't say Gucci across it. He's not a billboard for Gucci, but he's wearing Gucci. I don't literally mean Gucci, but expensive brand. But you notice how everybody's trying to be in the class. Everybody wants to be in the picture with Leor because they're trying to get in that room with him. Everybody's trying to be in the pictures with Leor. All the rappers. But guess what? They're not getting into the real boardrooms with him. Right? They're not getting... He can get into any room he wants with our community, but we can't get into certain rooms with him. Why I created the 360 deal. Let's watch this on TikTok. Fair use. So he came up with the 360 deal, right? So again, these are... Oh wow, I didn't even play it. So cool, that works. I just played the
You
sound.
didn't play the audio.
Yeah. So but basically he's saying he wanted to be the scrappiest, so on and so forth, right? And what we're looking at is, again, he's bringing that money back to his community. And again, in the form of a charity, is he helping his community, right? So when we're looking at budgeting, like you said, we got to give up some things sometime, right? And if we give up some things, then we can do that charitable contribution. Like I said, if we look at what is this here, because what do we hear guys screaming about all the time on these here internet streets, Sheed? Oh, the woman, she wants me to take her out for fairly expensive steak. By the way, if we combine these numbers so far, and I haven't gone through all the variable expenses, but just combining, so that's 120,000, right? Let's pull up the calculator. Let me pull up my calculator really quickly, right? 124.44, right? And then I haven't even finished the variable expenses, but adding it up together right now. Oh, never mind. It shows us right here. Right now, we're at $182,000. This is just for a single person, right? Because let's not act like actually a lot of this ends up being debt. Because a lot of this is on my credit card, I'm financing it. Right? And I didn't even add in there the expense of a house. I put $2,200 a month as rent, which is cheap for the Northeast. Right? Cable, $200 a month. Dining out. So fellas, I don't ever want to hear y'all crying about, oh, she wants me to take her to Ruth Chris. Listen, you spend a good amount of money on yourself, spend a good amount of money on entertainment. It needs to be in your budget. See, what you guys are busy doing is trying to floss. And again, get that chick with the big butt and the smile. And wondering why she wants you to spend $750 and you ain't got it. You got a budget. So say your budget for dining out is $350 a month. Okay, $4,200 a year. Okay, well, you got one or two options. You can tell her, listen, I'm not taking you to share Shayla expensive steak. Or you save up for 2 months. To say, hey, listen, I want to take you to share Shayla expensive steak, but we can't go this weekend. I got to go next month. What? You broke? No, I budget. And now that'll help you again with that classism, because you'll know what kind of a class of a woman she is. If she expects you to be a non-good steward of money, because she's probably used to hanging out with the dope boy who doesn't understand money. He gets money so fast and he blows it so fast. But let me tell you something about dope boys. They get this lots of money. They flash the money down their arm. Most of the time, they're eating $4 chicken wings every day. That's why they keep the corner store and the Chinese store open, because all they can afford is the value menu. All I can afford is a bag of chips and a bad soda from the corner store. Right? Let's use Georgia, for example. You had YSL, but you know who was really doing big things? Shout out to Rollo. What did Rollo do? He actually bought the project building. That's giving back to the hood. He bought that building and let his members actually live in that building. Not just the members, but their families. So if we want to talk about him doing illegal things, he did nothing more than actually become an organized crime family, like the Genovese family, like the Bonanno family, like the Capone family.
And you know he's doing it again, right? He actually, and this time he's doing it with no street vibes, because you know, kind of that situation with him. He been cut. They done cut ties with him from the street. So this is all off rap money.
Yeah.
He's cut his ties, so it's all off rap money.
He was looking out for people.
Yep.
Everybody's still riding on, oh, slime, YSL. You idiots. That was 28 men with $1 million. If you do the math, 1 million divided by 28, that's $35,000 a head. Them dudes could have got a job at McDonald's and been better off and not have all this jail time. But hold on, I'm going to show you what they're really doing, right? Because here's what they're really doing. We're going to go to this Google, right? Here's what they're really doing. When you see them pull all them stacks out. I had 100 bands. I got 100 bands. It looks like real money. This is what they're doing. I don't even know. I don't want to sign up for this, right? This is what they're doing. That's prop money. That's prop money. That's what they're doing. Oh, yeah, son. I got stacks on deck. Look at these hundreds, man. Stacks on deck. Prop money, bro. Prop money. See? And he's showing you exactly what they do. Yeah, boy, stacks on deck. Yeah, son. Yeah, son. We make money over here, son. We got it. I'm going to rip busting out the bands, man. Because who's going to read on that says motion picture from a TV screen? Right?
Yep.
You can't see that it says motion picture purposes from the TV screen. All you see is this. Yeah, son, bands on deck. Look at that. I got stacks. They're lying to you. This costs $300.
That's even like the trial. It's crazy to me that Woody, he's known in here in the paperwork for snitching, giving all the information, but he on Balloon Pop and all these different podcasts, but yet they say they don't glorify the snitches. But then when what's his name, Gunna, got out, oh, Gunna's this, Gunna's that. Nobody wants to do an album, Gunna, but Woody's doing all this stuff and everybody glorifying him, and it comes from the point of two ways. Like, probably the industry don't mess with Woody, but everybody else does. Even with Gunna music. I know one of Gunna's security guards. Gunna last month was over in France doing a show. Do you think Gunna care about America and them not liking him? He's over in France, sold out show in France. Last month he was over in France. I think he said it was France, but sold out show. talking to the guy and on his security guard, the guy knowing the security, and I'm like, man, like in America, that's like overseas, the producers get more fame than the artists.
Yeah.
It's another guy I know. He's a producer. I went to school with him. This guy says, "Man, I'm a legend overseas. In America, I'm just a regular guy y'all knew from high school and make beats for artists." But he said, "When I go overseas, I'm a legend."
Straight legend.
Yeah.
You see?
Even back into that the whole situation with the dating and all that, far as in the budget. I always say this. I mean, every situation, every point has a choice. You have a choice in who you deal with. You have a choice in who you date. And seeing is believing. Why would I even deal with a woman that kind of, suns me for not taking them to Ruth Chris? That might not be might not be your class. And see, that's the
Mm-mm.
thing. A lot of people want to get accepted into a class they don't belong to. That's why it's hard for people to fit in society, because you want to be accepted into a class that doesn't want to accept you.
Ex-
Car clubs are the same way. If they have a Chevy car club or Dodge, let's say they have the Dodge car club and everybody has Chargers and everybody has the Demons, the Hellcats, and you come up in there with a Mustang 5.0, they're gonna look at you a certain way. Now you just have a muscle car club, then you'll fit right in. Same thing with society. We want to go to these nice restaurants and be into these restaurants where we're excluded out of. There's certain restaurants they don't even want you sitting at the table.
yeah.
But at the same time, we want to be so exclusively accepted. That's why we put ourselves in these situations. Same thing when it comes to these women in the dating. Like, if I'm dealing with a woman that kind of, feels a certain way about me taking her to a restaurant or even talking about taking her to the restaurant, pretty much that might not be the class of woman that you want to deal with. I mean, that's the whole thing, going back into dating within your means and dealing with people within the budget. Because when it comes down to it, you might can't deal with a woman who has I guess a high palate when it comes to her eating choices. If you can't afford it, you just can't afford it. And I don't understand why guys mostly put themselves in situations of going broke to try to afford, certain things for the women in their lifestyle. You know, you should live within your means, live
Absolutely.
within your, range, because otherwise, why buy a time for $6,000 and you're literally driving a 30-year-old car that's beat up and it's on its last leg. I understand you're trying to impress people, but the thing about this is, if you can't afford a good transportation, you can't afford to go get the money anyway. So a lot of people it really matters. Even in a situation of dating, there's no way I would spend $500 on a first date and I have bills that need to be paid. You know, that's
Exactly.
why I tell most guys, you shouldn't be dating anyway until you get your priorities straight.
Right.
Sometimes to a point, there's some priorities need to be adjusted before you get into the dating market.
I agree. And that's one thing that I think, like you said, my fault, I'm away from my microphone. That's one thing I think, like you said, a lot of brothers gotta look at, right? So what now let me explain what women are asking when they're asking to go to share to Ruth Chris or what have you. They're asking, hey, are you a good steward of money? Are you in a position where you can afford this? And you as the man can put your foot down right here and say, one day I can afford it, but number one, this is our first date. I'm not taking you to Ruth Chris for our first date. Number two, it's not in my budget. Now you've just showed her that you're responsible and a good steward of money. So, like you said, maybe she's not the class of woman that you need to be with, because a lot of women are just going to Ruth Chris because it's Ruth Chris, right? But if you were to bring home steak from Omaha Steaks and say, cook this up, she wouldn't know what to do with it. So it's not that she wants to have the experience of a quality, expensive steak. She just wants it because she knows it costs a lot of money. So she thinks spending money equates to class, and it doesn't. I'll use Mercedes-Benz as a prime example. That's why they call it an A-class Benz. If you're in an A class, you're at a certain level. If you're in a B class, you're at a certain level. If you're in a C class, that's starting to be C-level class Benz. The E class actually stands for executive class. The S class stands for superior class. Right? So these are all class levels, right? And water meets its level. So when these people are like, hey, spend $1 billion on our first date on steak, why is that? Is it just because you want an expensive steak? Most of the time it is. Again, what are you spending on movies and sporting events? Your babysitter, your hobbies, your vacation and travel. I spoke to Austin Holloman. He said he spent $70,000 once to go over to do his traveling overseas. But then there's a video where he's back home in Texas broke, being yelled at by his mama. Apparently, he supposedly makes $100,000 a year as an independent barber, no shop of your own. Sir, I find that hard to believe. I have relatives in the Northeast who own a barbershop, who owned 2 locations. He had to shut it down. I have another friend who ended up shutting down his barbershop, made $97,000 a year as the owner operator of a barbershop with 4 barbers under him. He made $97,000 a year. Had to stop working there and work at my cousin's barbershop, which is now shut down. And they weren't cheap with their haircuts. I paid $25 per time for an edge up. I paid at least $50 to $100 per time for my haircut. And these were their normal prices. So I find it hard to believe that Austin Holloman is really making $100,000. Maybe for the fact that maybe where he's at in Texas, if he's the only barber in town, which I highly doubt. Right? So where are we spending our money? Right? Because basically Austin Holloman said he spent $70,000 on just traveling. Right? So here we're almost at $200,000, and I didn't even put in hobbies, vacation, or movies. I'm not even going to do that. I got to get ready to go because I got an appointment in a few minutes I got to get ready for. I just looked at the time. So you'll also look at your fixed and variable business expenses, because this is something that as business owners, you need to go through, right? So you'll look at your rents, your salaries, which is going to be probably your biggest expense, your employee benefits, things like your phone and internet, your insurance, which is going to be another huge expense, your transportation and the fuel expense, right? Your travel shouldn't be that big of an expense depending on the field that you're with. Your tax, accounting, and banking services are going to be a huge expense. The second largest expense outside of employee salaries is going to be your advertisement. Now, business entertainment, I think that as a business owner, if you don't do entertainment for your employees, you're doing yourself a disservice. Give me 1 second here. My phone is ringing. That might be my phone.
Yeah, that's like a real big thing as far as business entertainment. I mean, your clients have to be wooed because that shows your status with them. You know, that's prime example. Having a nice car, that's the woo factor. It shows that you're making money. It shows that you're, spending your money well worth it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the woo factor for clients that come see you. You come pick your client up. You pick your client up in a Toyota is not bad. Toyota Camrys are not bad. But if you pick your client up in what is that older car? Hey, a Kia Sedona? Not a Sedona. Sedona's the van.
Yeah.
Sorrento, the Sorrento. A Kia Sorrento. Those old cars, they discontinued those cars. They had so many issues with it. If you pick up your client up in one of them or a PT Cruiser, they're gonna look at you and say, "Well, you want me to invest my money with you and This is what you drive. You
Yeah.
know, it's an older model. Not the point. Like they say, they're not shaming you for driving that type of car, but the car isn't well maintained. The interior is real bad. The AC doesn't work. Then you're letting me know how you invest your money.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Which is why I went and bought a Benz, right? Because if I go up to somebody and say, "Hey, give me $100,000 in a Toyota Camry," nothing wrong with a Camry at all, but they're more apt to give me $100,000 when I drive up in an E-Class, right? That's shining, black on black, tints, rims, less than 100,000 miles. You know what I mean? The interior is good. The AC works. The sound. I actually need to. I'm getting some buzzing in one of my speakers now, so I know I got to go get the speaker fixed, which pisses me off because that happened after I brought it to Ben's for service, and then it was suddenly buzzing. So I know the mechanics did something, but that's neither here nor there. But listen, y'all, I actually need to get going. I just got a phone call about my appointment. They want to move it up a little earlier. So I'm gonna let you close out. Anything you want to close out with?
None, man. Hey, just keep a budget of yourself. Know the type of money you're spending. Know your pockets, and if not, hey, gig apps always work. Or make a little more money. You can spend a little more, or
Yeah,
save a little more in that content. But
yeah,
I'm done.
definitely. Nothing wrong with gig economy, right? That I think is one of the most important things that we can do. Is definitely, it because it gives you freedom and autonomy, right? And it gives you the ability to, hey, you know what? I want to ABC XYZ, whatever, whatever. You can completely do that right then and there. And be absolutely happy with it. But I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. Make sure you catch that replay. Wow, I've almost been going for 2 hours, so that's really good. So ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy, the insurance junkie, your fiduciary fella, the all-star advisor Alonzo Hall, your social media insurance broker, whapped and tapped on your head with another solution about the isms. Make sure you hit that like, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're made aware every time I release new content. And as always, share, share, share. Lastly, to contribute to channel growth or to schedule an appointment with a licensed financial professional, the links are in the description of this video. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, wipe ass, work in progress every day, and see success. And remember, folks, when people challenge you, they don't challenge you to challenge you, but they challenge you to challenge you. Accept the challenge. Salute.
Salute.
FYI, my plan is to start that $100 billion initiative for our community. So that means that instead of 250,000 black families with $250,000 worth of life insurance, I want 500,000 black families with at least $500,000 worth of life insurance. Right? He did this in 6 years with the company New York Life. I'm gonna do this in faster time with my own company. So help me help you. Right? Wipe ass. Work in progress every day and see success. FYI, this is a huge reason. You see that, husbands and fathers? It's a huge reason wealth is created. Husbands unite. I'm starting to bully you bitch ass dudes. I'm tired of it. And as are other black husbands. So, y'all got y'all gang, we got ours too. Salute.